Ketu mahadasha. Ketu mahadasha, with respect to this mahadasha, there is such a lot of misunderstanding. It's even more than Rahu mahadasha, and I would say many times more than all of the other mahadashas combined. People don't have a clue what Ketu mahadasha is. And if you analyze the time periods corresponding to Ketu mahadasha in the lives of a lot of famous, in the lives of a lot of prominent individuals, you will find out that there seems to be no set pattern for it. It's almost like you can't really predict. It's the unpredictable energy of Ketu that seems to be manifesting with respect to this energy. And that is why it is very important for us, first of all, to understand the house-based energy of Ketu. So first of all, to understand Ketu mahadasha, you really need to tap into the energy of Ketu. So you're encouraged to check out the videos that I've made for Ketu through the houses. Check them out so that give you an understanding of what that can say with respect to your priorities. That's number one. Second thing is, you need to understand Ketu mahadasha is going to behave radically different if it is coming early on in your life compared to later on in your life. Why? Because it's very different when Ketu is mature in your chart, that's post age of 48, as against when Ketu is not mature, which is all of the ages, I would say before your mid-40s. Because even around about mid-40s, after Rahu maturation, Ketu begins to mature. So there's that. The third factor is, it's going to be vastly different on the basis of what Ketu nakshatras are present in your chart. So Ashwini, Magha, these are Ketu nakshatras, right? And so with respect to, and Mula, these are Ketu nakshatras. Each of these three nakshatras have a very different energy associated with them. Magha is very different from Ashwini, is very different from Mula. Okay? And in this you have to see how prominent a particular nakshatra is. How prominent are Ketu nakshatras in your chart. So if you have 2-3 planets placed in Ashwini, Ketu mahadasha for you is going to be insanely different compared to somebody who has no planet placed in any of the Ketu nakshatras. Okay? Now, having gotten that out of the way, let's dive deep into what this means at a general level for everybody. When you talk about Ketu mahadasha, this is essentially a rerun that life is giving you. Ketu is your past life. It is your past life karma. Ketu represents the patterns of your previous lifetimes. Ketu represents what your soul has the most experience with through many lifetimes. Now, here's the thing. The more you are familiar with this energy, the more you can get stuck. And Ketu shows you that you're here to release that energy in this lifetime. So Ketu mahadasha is essentially that time period where you're getting the energy of rerun. You know what? Live this again. Experience this again. And through experiencing this, that's those same patterns again, this time you have the opportunity of doing things differently. See, you got Ketu, the first house in Ardhara nakshatra. It's quite possible that your previous lifetimes you were somebody who may have been outside society. You could have been, general interpretation, don't get triggered. You could have been somebody, let's say, who was involved in criminal-like activities. You could have been a sports person. You could have been somebody definitely who was using their body a lot, who were corresponding quite a bit to primal emotions and instincts. Okay? This lifetime as well, you will see quite a bit of these patterns repeated as part of who you are. You can be hot-headed, especially in the beginning of your life. You can be involved in sports. You can be involved in, Ardhara-like energies, which is mountaineering and exploration, and all those things. Okay? Could even be connected to Ardhara-like energies in terms of, depends on how your Mars is placed, working with electricity, working with energy. Having said that, Ketu and Ardhara usually represents an individual who has this naturally dominant aspect of being a rebel associated with who they are. Okay? Now, this is the energy in this lifetime that's available for you that you need to outgrow. Ketu mahadasha comes along. And let's say you've not been able to outgrow this energy. You're stuck being the same person. Every problem that you get, you try to resolve it through fighting with others. Every situation that you encounter, you try to resolve it by, let's say, extremist measures and means. This lifetime was meant for you to grow out of this energy, and you're failing to do that. Ketu Mahadasha comes along, Ketu and Ardha in the first house. It's a very unique case. I had to take one to give you an example. This can create something where you encounter massive physical health problems, massive physical health issues. You encounter an accident, you encounter actually having to go to jail. Why? Because Ketu is telling you, dude, get out of this energy. Why the hell are you still so caught up in this energy? Get out of it. Okay? Also, on the flip side, what can happen? This is what confuses people. This is why it's so difficult to predict with Ketu Mahadasha. On the flip side, what can happen is, this lifetime is such where you know, deep down I'm an aggressive person and I need to keep my aggression in check. I need to keep these tendencies in check. So you try to be as agreeable as possible. And it's tough. I mean, you have to take so much. You have to, tolerate so much. Deep down, you are not the person who is going to be shut down like that. Deep down, you're an angry person. Deep down, you are a person who will annihilate the opposition, who will break down the barriers when people are, trying to stifle your expression. But you're somehow working with it because you're aligned towards your Rahu. You're like, you know what? I need to do things in a calm fashion. I need to do things in an easy fashion. I am an agent of peace and light. Ketu Mahadasha comes along, you are in a position suddenly where the universe is like, you know what? Live this energy again. Enjoy. And suddenly you find yourself in dynamics where you can be this angry, dynamic individual. You can be calling the shots. You are engaging with people who are rallying behind you in this dominating, rebel-like attitude that you have. You get it? Ketu Mahadasha is going to, so there's a lot of technical stuff that we can get into. I'm going to cover that in another video as well. The technical stuff with respect to the Sanskrit literature, we'll do that as well. But at a general level, you have to understand this is the difference in understanding the energy of Ketu and Mahadashas. How aligned you are already with this Ketu, how much dependent you are on this Ketu, how much have you been able to outgrow this Ketu in this particular lifetime, or how much you are dependent on this particular Ketu, that is going to dictate at least 80%. Forget about what's written anywhere else. You can take my guarantee for it. You can predict at least 80% of the effects when you analyze Ketu Mahadasha in this fashion. Let's take another example. Let's say you got Ketu in the 10th. Okay? Ketu in this 10th. Ketu in the 10th house. This lifetime is not about you really focusing on position. This lifetime is not really about you focusing on, working hard and being seen as an authority. This lifetime is about you focusing on your private life, focusing on your personal happiness with Rahu in the 4th, focusing more on comfort and assets and things like that, not as much about your status and reputation. Okay? And so you are following your North Node. You are focusing on the right things. You are not prioritizing your career as much. You're prioritizing your inner life. Ketu Mahadasha comes along. Suddenly you find yourself in the limelight. And this happens all of a sudden. That's the beauty and the scary aspect of Ketu. This is how it happens. It's like a switch. Like, you know how you can take a phone and push factory reset and all the data is wiped off, all your settings are gone, suddenly it's at factory reset and it's behaving exactly the way that the company designed it to behave. That is what Ketu Mahadasha can be like. Ketu in the 10th house. You spend your best years focusing on Rahu. Ketu comes along, suddenly you're in the limelight because maybe you have taken some kind of an initiative, maybe to work for the people. Maybe you took it as a way of you wanting to provide service for people, for your community, for your locality, and suddenly you're getting recognized for it. Suddenly you find yourself running for an election and suddenly you find yourself winning it. this is what can happen with Ketu Mahadasha. Now, as I said, this is going to depend. It's going to vary, right? Let's say with Ketu in the 10th, you have just lived your life somehow being unable to detach from Ketu in the 10th. You've lived your life somehow, you know deep down, it's not what satisfies you. You know deep down that my work doesn't really satisfy me. I'm working just because I have work for my family, for my kids. And let's say you're involved in a very stressful job and it's not fulfilling. And you're just failing to make the necessary change that you need to make. Ketu Mahadasha comes along, suddenly now you've lost face, your reputation has taken a hit, you have no other choice but to go inwards and maybe relocate to start your career afresh from scratch. If Ketu Mahadasha is not working out well for you, so this is irrespective of whether or not you're 48, whether or not this Ketu is mature in your chart. If Ketu Mahadasha is not working out well for you, there is a 99% chance that you are seeing the signs that are asking you to make the shift, but you are ignoring them. This is the beauty of Ketu. Ketu is that spiritual energy. It's that unpredictable energy that we don't know, that we cannot predict, that we do not fully understand, but we feel it. That's what Ketu is. Ketu Mahadasha will always start giving you, dreams and premonitions and signs before it comes along. Showing you, even through Ketu Mahadasha, when you're going through it, showing you that, look, this is something, please listen. Listen, this is either the unfulfilled task from previous lifetime that you must fulfill, or this is that thing that you need to release that you're stuck with, which is keeping you stuck in Maya. And usually it's a combination of both. It's not unless you can release what Ketu asks you to release that you will find the purpose that Ketu wants to guide you towards. Okay? You have to understand that Ketu Mahadasha can actually be the most abundant period of your life. This really can be the most abundant period of your life compared to any other Mahadasha. You can suddenly come into lottery winnings. That's what Ketu Mahadasha can be. But the reason that is difficult is Ketu just takes things away. It doesn't give you any hint. When you keep getting the signs, you ignore them, and if you're ignoring the signs, Ketu Mahadasha will start going bad for you. Okay? Now, let's take another example to help you out and help you understand. Let's say you got Ketu in the 5th house. Okay? It's a tough placement. Ketu in the 5th house. You're too dependent on your own intelligence, your own creativity. You might be too attached with your children. Okay? You may be a natural parent, but it's quite possible that too much of your life is individualistic. Right? Ketu Mahadasha comes along and suddenly you can have problems with respect to your children. There could be a detachment between you and your child. There could be a disconnect between you and something that you created. For example, you created a book or a script and somebody else takes the credit for it. You created a product and somebody else takes the credit for it. Why? Why is that happening? Because with Rahu in the 11th, this lifetime was about you learning to work with other people. Realizing your wishes, being more collaborative. What are you doing being so stuck with what you create? It was not about you being stuck with what you create, but aligning your energies with others to create something for the highest good, for the greater good. Okay? In the same way, Ketu in the 1st house, people are going to feel it usually in the best way. Ketu in Kendra house is usually going to fare well. Because any planet which is in the ascendant is going to give you a rerun. Ketu in the ascendant, especially if you encounter Ketu Mahadasha, you are going to be fulfilling some kind of incomplete past life purpose in this lifetime. For sure, you're meant to go through it. And you're going to notice this change within you. Your habits are going to change leading up to the Ketu Mahadasha. And this is why you have to listen. You have to listen. You have to make the changes that are necessary, or Ketu is going to enforce them onto you. Okay? Guys, this is how you interpret Ketu Mahadasha. I am going to do, I think, another live session to talk about it, soon. But this should be enough for you. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel so that you can stay abreast of all the wonderful content that I post here. Push the bell icon so that you can be notified every single time I post. Do consider becoming a member of this wonderful channel, because it is through your support that I'm able to go further into my research and bring out a lot of content, authentic content, that otherwise I would not be able to. If you want to work with me, like be part of one of my programs, which is either the Astro Life Coaching Practitioner Program, which is learning Vedic astrology from me, how to practice it, or working with me as me being your personal coach, then you can check out the links given below. You're going to have to go to the website, fill up a form, we'll fix an appointment, move ahead, and that's how it works. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Adios.